You're watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by Belaire's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum in Natchitoches. You can follow Sports Shorts Daily by going to our YouTube page, Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rance, and get our 15-minute weekday video. Welcome, everybody, to our segment where we're talking to 2021 Hall of Fame inductees, and Courtney Blades Rogers joins us now, one of the all-time great softball players from the state of Louisiana. And congratulations, first off, on getting inducted into this fantastic 2021 class. So what was your reaction when you got the phone call?
Well, I was actually at pitching lessons, and Doug, he texted me. And of course, I didn't know the phone number, so I didn't, well, he called and I didn't know the phone number, so I didn't answer, but I called back after. And shock is probably the best word, because when it comes to Louisiana sports and my sport specifically, I know there's some girls that are from the state that, you know, played at LSU and did some really great things at LSU. And I literally said, I think I can remember saying, "Are y'all sure?" But I was shocked, but very happy, obviously, with, you know, it's nice to still get awarded with, or get recognized after 20 some odd years of playing, and you're still getting some recognition way back, you know, down the road.
Well, you grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and attended Belaire High School, where you graduated in 1996, and then went on to play a couple of years at Nicholls down in Thibodaux in the Southland Conference before finally playing the last 2 years of your career at Southern Miss. And that's where most people obviously pick up the story and remember you. But let's go back to those days in Baton Rouge. You know, you kind of came around when softball was just getting back started in college in Louisiana. Obviously, the Raging Cajuns had been doing great things, but LSU and other programs were just kind of beginning in the late 90s when you were coming out of high school.
Yeah, LSU, actually, I don't think they had a program when I came out of high school. So, or maybe they did, I'm not real sure. Maybe my freshman year, I don't really remember. I just know that Nicholls was my choice. I didn't want to go too far from home. So I had a lot of offers from schools right here right in Louisiana. And then, ironically enough, after I signed, I got some offers from some bigger schools outside of Louisiana, but I was happy with my choice. But I think LSU came back around. It was my junior year where they really, really got competitive. I want to think that because I remember Brandy Landry playing at LSU prior to when I got there, so they must have had a program. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I just know that we played. It was USL at that point when Coach Gerard was coaching there, and they were something. They were legit. So we got to play them in the fall. I played them in the fall my freshman year, and we beat them, which was amazing. And then I was hurt when they came and played us in the spring. And then, honestly, I don't remember if we played them my sophomore year or not, but they were always a force to be reckoned with. I think they were like number 3 in the country my freshman year. They were very good.
Yeah, Raging Cajun softball is something else. You had a couple of great years down in the Bayou at Nicholls, and of course All-Southland and all. It had to be a tough decision for you. And you know, you're having a lot of success at Nicholls, and then you made the decision to go to Southern Miss. One of your coaches went over to that program. Talk about your decision to move on.
Obviously I loved being down at Nicholls. There was a lot of rich tradition down there. But for me personally, I just felt like it was a decision for me to make as far as growth with softball. You know, I wanted the opportunity to compete for a national championship. And unfortunately at Nicholls, I didn't feel like that was going to be would allow me to do that. So, and you know, when my coach left my sophomore year, that was a complete shock to the system. And then we found out she was going to be back in the college world. So, you know, it really was an easy choice to follow her. And, you know, we just worked hard, and nobody really expected us to do what we did over at Southern Miss. But it worked out the way it was supposed to, I guess. You know, people say things happen the way they're supposed to happen. And I guess that's what it was. But for me personally, it was I just wanted to be challenged. And I wanted to have the opportunity to play on a bigger stage.
Well, it absolutely worked out.
We got to do that.
It worked out tremendously. Here's a couple of numbers for people that don't know. 43-6 in your first year as a pitcher at Southern Miss, 52-7 in your last year. And for your career, over 1,700 strikeouts, had over 150 wins and an ERA less than 1, with 77 shutouts. You had about basically shut out a team 1 out of every 2 times you went out there on the mound, just about. You know, when you retired and hung it up in the collegiate ranks, you were the Nolan Ryan of your sport, right? You held the record for most strikeouts in a collegiate career. That record's been broken since, but I've talked to Coach Gerard, who's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and other people that followed your career and played against you. They reference that you put that team Southern Miss on your back and were a rubber arm and just took the ball just about every game, right?
Yeah, pretty much every game. Obviously my daughter pitches, and I couldn't tell you how I did that. I really can't. But I think it's one of those things where it's like the postseason. You know how Major League Baseball players, they throw on no rest. It's just you get to that time of the year and you do what you got to do. But I did throw a lot of innings. I wouldn't recommend that, but I threw a lot of innings. I really did. I don't remember which year it was, my junior year or senior year, but I had thrown that long game against LSU, and then the next morning my mom walks into the ballpark at LSU, and I'm in the bullpen, and she starts crying. I'm like, Mother, you don't need to cry. I'm the one that's got to throw. So, it's just, like I said, it was just one of those things. I just said, give me the ball, and we just went with it. That was just what we did.
Yeah, you pitched against LSU in the NCAA regional. I'm looking at the numbers right here. 13 innings, had 21 strikeouts, and took a hard-fought 1-0 loss in the
Yes.
13 innings. You went to Southern Miss because you wanted the opportunity to play in the NCAA postseason and have a chance at a national championship. You were able to do that. What was that experience like?
Well, I think it was a dream come true. Obviously, we got to play at the World Series 2 years in a row. But I think the thing that people need to understand, because, there's a lot of young girls that are out there playing softball right now, and their parents, the recruiting world is crazy the way it is. I think everybody needs to realize that there's a lot of hard work that goes into being able to get to that point in your career. Obviously, for us as females in the softball world, there's not a lot after the World Series, so college is kind of your thing. And it takes a lot of hard work, but, man, when you get there, there is nothing like it at all.
Who, played an impact in your career, maybe helped coach you, teach you, gave you some information that really made a difference in your life as a softball player in Louisiana and over at Southern Miss?
Well, first and foremost, when I first started pitching, Ben Guidry, who was the owner of the Louisiana Patriots, he was my first pitching coach. And I think everybody in Louisiana probably knows him. And he still does it. As a matter of fact, it was probably 3 years or so ago. I was traveling from one tournament to the next, and we made a stop in Louisiana, and it was raining, and I needed somewhere for my daughter and one of the other girls on our team to pitch, and I called Mr. Ben, and he's like, absolutely, you can come out here. So, he was the first pitching coach I had. I didn't really have a lot of pitching coaches. I know I used to come to Houston here and there to get lessons from somebody. I don't even know who it was, but I played on the same team growing up my entire career. So those baseball guys, and they coached us. And then, when I got to Nicholls, and even to this day, Lou Harris, which is now Lou Harris Champer, she's my softball person, and I call her, and she knows it. I call her my softball god. She is my person when it comes to softball. And, obviously we both now have kids and we're married, and she's still coaching. And, I was coaching travel, and my daughter plays for her now, but she's my softball person. And I would say that she was probably the most influential when it comes to my skills and abilities and teaching me not just how to be a softball player, but how to be a great person as well. So she's my person. I would give her most of the credit as I got older, but when I was younger, just a few people here and there, but very instrumental people, because it wasn't a lot of different folks. It was, 3 people really. And then of course my parents for driving me everywhere.
From an outsider's perspective, a non-softball guy like myself, it seems to me that 20 years ago when you were playing in college and striking everybody out and dominating the sport, that it was much more pitcher oriented back then. I felt like the scores were more 1-0, 2-1. The games were faster. Nowadays, we're seeing these high scoring affairs. The games are lasting 2.5 hours long. What has changed in the sport over the last 20 years?
I get asked this a lot. So I would agree that back when I played, it was probably more pitcher oriented. The mound distance was still the same. I still pitched at 43 feet. However, the bat technology nowadays is unbelievable. Like sometimes I'm scared for our kids, just fielders in general. Anybody who plays on the dirt, sometimes I'm really nervous for them because the ball comes off the bat super fast. I think the other thing is technology in regards to videoing and any type of analyzation that you can do. It's so high tech and advanced. But if you take all that away, quite frankly, I think the athletes are better. I think they train better. I think they start younger. They specialize a whole lot earlier. You know, there's a lot of different, I think, differing opinions on that. But, you know, I personally do not take kids that are younger than 8. I won't do it. But there are kids that are getting lessons at 6 and they're doing speed and agility at 4. It is crazy how young these kids are. And I quite frankly, it's probably the same for all sports. I just know that the kids are much better. They're trained better. It's just a different breed, really. I was not like that. I didn't go out and practice every single day. I didn't have a personal trainer that I saw 3 days a week. So I just think the whole thing is just a little different, or a lot different, really.
You're going to be getting inducted next June in 2021 into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class. You're going to have a fantastic 3 days in Natchitoches with all kind of great events. You've seen the class. It's a very big-time class with a lot of great athletes, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and Marcus Colston and many others. Anyone in particular looking forward to meeting, or what are you most looking forward to about your 3 days in Natchitoches?
Well, a lot of times I was inducted into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame, and I was the only female in that class as well. So that's always interesting to see how that's going to go down. But a lot of the guys that are in the class with me, you know, I'm a big LSU fan, although my daughter is going to Georgia, you know, and I think everybody would know that I'm an LSU fan until they're playing Georgia. So I know a lot of those guys that are in the class. So I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily excited about seeing anybody in particular. I really like being around people who are sports minded and they were just really good at what they did. You know what I mean? Like, because it takes a special breed for that kind of stuff. So I really enjoyed just the athletic side of people and you know, because it takes a lot of hard work and determination and time and that type of thing. So I'm excited about it. I sent my family the list and they're like, wow, we're going to get to see some cool people. So, my brother graduated from LSU. My parents my father since passed, but my mom has season tickets to multiple sports at LSU. So she is a diehard LSU fan, and my brother is too. He doesn't leave at the football games until the game is over. He gets mad when people leave in the third quarter. So it's going to be a really cool event for all of us, really, all of us. So I'm really excited for it, and you know, just the atmosphere always makes me happy because I'm around people that are similar to me.
Well, you're going to meet also a lot of past Hall of Famers come to a lot of the events as well, so you'll get a chance to meet them. Finally, you're living in the Houston area. Tell us what you're doing these days.
Well, I've got 2 kids. So my daughter she's a freshman at University of Georgia playing softball, and then my son is 15, about to be 16. He's a sophomore, and he doesn't do sports, but he runs a business, and you know, that's a whole different ball game. But my husband travels a lot with his job. Well, he could be if he would put himself forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
But all I do is I give lessons. That's all I do. So I teach softball, and then I work with teams, and I do a lot of recruiting. So softball, sometimes people say your sport doesn't define you, but softball is who I am. It is. That's what I do. I give lessons. I work with kids, and then I get to talk to coaches all the time. So So it's been me. That's who I am. So that's what I do.
Well, you did it fantastic. No one did it better during your time at Nicholls and at Southern Miss. Over 1,700 strikeouts in 4 years of college pitching, over 150 wins and 77 shutouts and an ERA less than 1. That's about as good as you can do it. Congratulations on your announcement that you'll be getting inducted next summer into the 2021 Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to being there and getting to be with everybody.
Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily, presented by Belaire Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Museum in Natchitoches. Don't forget to follow Sports Shorts on Facebook, Twitter at sports_shorts, and check us out on Saturday mornings from 10 to noon at Sports Shorts Radio on 104.5, 104.9 ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge.